The ambush of a woman. I am a Christian. A born again. A spirit-filled child of the Most High from my youth. I was brought up in the way of the Lord from my young age. Very fervent for the Lord for as long as I can remember. A very devout husband of one wife and a loving father to my children. In my place of work and professionally, I was on top of my career in one of Nigeria's leading financial institution with very bright prospects ahead of me. I had my life wrapped in my hands. I had everything I wanted and could afford whatever I needed until I met this lady. Our meeting was nothing beyond the ordinary. She had come for a transaction in the bank, and due to the long queue in the bank, I decided to help her consummate her transaction, and so a friendship started. Anytime she came for a transaction, she would come directly to me and I would help her. The help became an everyday incident. Slowly and gradually our discussion drifted from the transaction to our children. And from our children to our business, our home, and then ourselves. I didn't notice the danger of what was happening. I didn't realize that with each discussion we had, the strength in my spirit for sex outside marriage began to fade. Our mode of discussion moved from the few minutes in my office or her outlet, which was across my office. We had 2 long and frequent WhatsApp chats. And a long hour of phone calls. Then we started calling ourselves pet names. Suddenly, my young and beautiful wife began to look like an old woman. Her smartness began to irritate me. We began to have frequent quarrels in the house. I began to hide my phone from my wife. I also used password to lock my phone, which I didn't use before. All through this period I kept assuring myself that I would not commit adultery since I was spirit-filled and was still prayerful. Moreover, I was still an active worker in the church. After some time, she invited me to her house. Since she lived alone with her kids, I accepted, and then we had sex with each other. After the first time, I told myself I would never engage in the act again, but I couldn't bring myself to end the affair. I always longed for the weekend. So I can sneak to her house at Lekki from my office in Ojodu Burger just to sleep with her. Any day I don't get to see her, I won't act normally. At times, I would leave my work and go to stay with her in her shop just to be close to her. At times, I would wake up in the night and leave the comfort of my bed and go to my generator house to neither call or chat with her. I had been hooked because I knew within me that if I died in this sin, I was going to hellfire. Any time I am on my way to her place, I would be praying to God to help me, but I couldn't muster enough energy to turn the wheels of the car. There was a force pushing and pulling me to do this inconvenient act. And when I am through with her, I would be praying to God for forgiveness. After some time, my wife began to have strange dreams about me being put to death. She would wake me at times and narrate them to me, but I could not open up to her about my affair with another woman. We would pray together and I would still go to the Delilah's lap for another round of hair shaving. This lasted about 6 months, and during this time my job became difficult for me. I couldn't meet targets in my department anymore. My wife's business became difficult and she lost huge amount of money. My children became sickly and I began to live in strange fear. A business I had built with a friend suddenly collapsed without any explanation, and I lost about 7 million naira. These strange occurrences continued until a certain day when my wife stumbled on my phone. She read all my chats with the lady. I couldn't hide anymore. I had to open up. After the disclosure, confession and prayers by my pastor, I realized I still could not resist the urge to be with her and see her until I took it upon me to seek the right knowledge. I prayed and looked for proper help by reading books related to what I was going through. I listened to CDs and DVDs and looked for mentorship from someone who has truly passed through what I was passing through and had been free long ago. After a while, physically I began to restrain myself from any form of contact with her. I deleted her numbers off my phone. I deleted her mails. I refused picking her calls and even refused to do any job that is related to hers. And I blocked her lines from reaching me. After a while, I began to see that the fondness I had for her was not longer in my heart. I am so happy. Though I lost a lot. It's been 4 years now and I have not gone back to adultery. All thanks to the owner of heaven and earth who helped to save me because I really needed his help. My children are no longer sickly. My wife has a new business and is doing so well by the day. I have found love again in Christ. And I never pray to lose this love again. If I was helped, you too can be helped. This is a story of a man who had been helped. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you are seeing some of the strategies the devil uses to enter into people's life to scatter it. Till God brings me your way again. I am Professor Holy Rock. And am saying, remain sexually clean.